Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I'm speaking with Jamie Alimorad. He has just put out a fantastic new track called Give a Little Lovin', and I'm super excited to talk to him all about it. Jamie, sincerely want to thank you so much for coming on today. How are you doing?
Hi, Austin. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
You
I'm
are
doing
super
well.
welcome. I want to kick things off right now by just letting you know that I have had this song stuck in my head for probably the last week now. I am not just saying that as like a blind compliment, but legitimately have been humming it everywhere I've gone. So if that was
Awesome.
the intention, you've truly knocked it out of the park.
Okay, that was the goal. Specifically for you,
Seriously,
though. I wanted to make
specifically
sure
for
it was
me.
in your head all the time.
You've done it. So thank you. I hope it doesn't leave anytime soon because the more I hum it, the more I have to listen to it.
Oh, that's a good thing.
I want to hop
Great.
right into it here. First thing I really want to know about is what's it all about? What does it mean to you?
So, Give a Little Lovin' was the very first thing that my producer and co-writer Ross Vannelli and I worked on when we got together to just do some sessions. It was very much like a Lennon McCartney sort of thing where he had his guitar and I was at the keyboard and we'd face each other and just trade ideas. And the vast majority of everything melodic and rhythmic for this song was straight from Ross. He had this hook and he had the beginnings of the melody and everything. And we just went back and forth with concepts and ideas as far as the story. And before there were any lyrics, when he got to the chorus, something made me think of Give a Little as what could fit in there. And I believe it's because about a day or so before this session, I have just listening to music in general, and a Maroon 5 song called Give a Little More came on. And I've always loved that tune. It's very groovy. It's got a little bit of a funk thing going. I always thought it should have
Totally.
been a bigger hit than it was. And that, those syllables, give a little, have a certain rhythmic flow when you speak them.
Absolutely.
So when he was doing the scatting, just the do 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 sort of thing, I just heard give a little in there, and then it was we'll give a little what, and then we landed on love it, and then we worked backwards from a title to what should the story be,
Very cool.
and as we came up with ideas and going back and forth with the lyrics, I know I personally wasn't thinking of anyone particularly, but then as the song took some more shape, your brain just goes somewhere. And for me, someone popped into my mind and I went, okay, it's driving me towards this person as if I'm singing it to them. It's not
Right.
necessarily about them, but that's like who I'm saying this stuff to.
Are
But
they
it felt
aware?
more like just a songwriting exercise than anything else in this one
I feel
particularly.
like that's how some of the best songs come about, like the songs you hear about 30 years down the line. And it was like, oh, it was a total accident. Like we have no idea what actually happened. It kind of just happened. And
Yeah.
so who
It,
knows?
yeah, this is one of those tunes that I am really just in love with the song. Normally, my
Sure.
imagination really runs wild with the imagery and exactly what these characters, whether it's me as a character or whoever else,
Right.
it just I kind of put people in its place and locations in its place and all that stuff. But now with this one, my mind is very blank. I'm just lost in a groove with it.
Right.
And I can't recall any other tracks of mine doing the same thing. So it's been a
Totally, man.
unique experience as an artist with this one too.
It's like sometimes you surprise yourself with what you're capable of. And it's like, hey, if I need to switch up my sound a little bit because this just works, then there you
Yeah,
go. Shows off your versatility and your range.
yeah, this one definitely is a little bit more pop funk edgy than what I had done in the past. Especially the
Right.
previous two singles were a little softer, and not in sense of volume or
Yeah.
uh, story or anything like that. Just it didn't have the same sort of edge to it. And
Interesting.
this one packs a little bit more of a punch. And I feel like it's a great launch point for everything else that I want to do for this year.
Nice. And so, yeah, I was going to save it for a little bit later, but let's just hop into it right now. I don't know what you
Sure.
can say, or what you want to say, but we are right at the beginning of this year. The song has just released. I can't imagine you're a one and done type of guy when it comes to music releases.
Yeah, yeah,
So do you have any insight into what your 2022 is looking like?
yeah. It's going to be a steady stream of singles. I'm not exactly sure what the timing is going to be. There's certain logistical things that we still
Yeah,
need to iron out, but the second one, my thought, it's either going to come out in the second half of March or the very beginning of April. Still
cool.
have to get some ducks in a row. And then after that, I'd like them to come out a bit more frequently.
Yeah.
So the moving parts really have to do with video work that I want to do. Every song lends itself to video very strongly. So I want to make sure that we have all of that organized and ready before we really commit to release dates and a schedule. And then the other big X factor that really hasn't been something to think about the last 2 years are concerts. And
Yeah.
I'm ready to get back on stage. And I've had a few offers float in. I did just confirm my first show of the year, but I didn't announce it yet. They told me to wait on that for
Sure,
a little
sure.
while. I
Yeah,
am,
everything's
but
kind of up in the air at the moment.
yeah.
And you're
So
based out
for
of LA, is that right?
I'm in Los Angeles,
Okay,
yes.
yeah. So
So
very
I'm
nice.
thinking more spring is when it's
Okay,
gonna start. This particular show that is booked is in the
sure, sure.
spring, but in LA, I'd like to do a lot this year. So for all
Yeah,
the local shows, full band acoustic, it should be busy once we get to those months of the year and hopefully through the rest of the year.
totally.
But then for things in other markets, uh, I'm optimistic and we'll just take it one day at a time. I've tried so hard to plan and figure out what's going on, and the only thing I figured out is I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, you and the rest of the industry,
Yeah,
everyone kind of just throws their hands up and says, "Well, who's calling the shots here?" So we have no
yeah,
idea what's going on. Good thing
yeah,
is you're in Los Angeles. There's always a venue that has something going on. I don't think that there's going to be a shortage. It's just going to be the flood of people
absolutely.
like, oh, well, it's time to perform again, so let's get back out there.
Absolutely. So
Totally.
my big thing is I want to make sure my musicians are comfortable and the audience is comfortable.
Absolutely, really.
Because if everybody's thinking about something else, whether in the crowd or on stage, you're not connected. And then if everybody on stage feels good, but the crowd doesn't want to come, we're like, well, we could have just stayed home and done that, you know. So I want to make sure everybody's happy and everybody feels like it's time to party again, and then we'll do it.
Amazing. I'm looking forward to it. Let me know
Yeah.
because I
Oh,
would love to
absolutely.
see a show happen. I want to bring things back to this song a little bit. Not, obviously
Sure.
get too off topic, but I want to know the process. You kind of detailed how things worked specifically on this, but it also sounds like things work differently compared to what you've worked on in the past. Do you think that there was a reason why there was sort of like a difference in this song as opposed to the others?
Yeah, and it's because Ross and I really work together.
Sure.
So uh, Ross produced my previous two singles,
Okay.
but I wrote them with his brother, Gino Vannelli, who had a string of hits in the 70s and
Okay.
80s. Gino produced the other 8 cuts on my last album, This Is Tomorrow Calling,
Wow.
which was all of it was a dream come true to work with both of them. And I
Sure.
grew so much as an artist, a storyteller, a singer, a musician, and as a person. It's been a pleasure to really get to know them and become friends with them, peers. And this time, as opposed to last time, the songs were not there. We just went in with ideas. And Ross had a vision for me, which I thought was a great vision. And I had reference tracks and things that I gave to him beforehand saying, I think I should move in this direction. I think if we build off of what we did from the last time, the natural progression goes here. And I'd like to showcase this side of my personality a little bit more because the other stuff didn't highlight that per
Yeah.
se. So Ross has worked with so many people from Earth, Wind, and Fire to Kanye West. So he covers a huge gambit there.
Yeah.
And he knows me pretty well. So the things that he was playing from his voice memos and on acoustic guitar to me, I latched onto a lot of them pretty quickly. And it was pretty instantaneous to know I want to explore this one or I don't want to explore this one. And he really took the lead, and I was fine with that. You know, whereas before, when I did stuff with Gino, I was living in New York, he's in Portland. I would write the song, and then it would almost be like giving it to a teacher where he'd red pen everything and say, I think you should change this, work on this, maybe make this line a little stronger, try this rhythmic phrasing here. And then I go back and I do my interpretation of it.
Right.
And then be the same process. And then he'd give his ideas. And as a producer and a co-writer, he'd say, okay, let's make, and he'd write the stuff there and edit the stuff there. And, you know, that was our version. Totally. And for Ross last time as a producer, he just produced. For one song, Not Ready to Say Goodbye, he felt that we could maybe make this verse a little bit longer with a different phrasing. What if we do this? And we came up with 4 lines and put that in, and that was the bulk. That, not the bulk, that was our co-writing. The song was done, and he said, I think we should put this in there, and that was it. But this time, it was more of, let's get together and see what happens.
See, I respect your position, but I also, it's got to be tough being in your position because you have all this outside help, which is never a bad thing. Constructive criticism is typically a good thing if you can accept it. But when there's so many other people telling you what this should sound like and that should sound like, it's hard on you because at the end of the day, your name is on it. You know what I mean? You don't want to make the wrong decision. It's not like it's just you and an acoustic guitar. There's so much more that goes into it.
Right. And that's a very fair and valid point. The biggest thing with my situation with both of them is I trust them. And
right, exactly. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, because you can work with another writer, a producer, whoever you want to partner with. And if they can't check the ego at the door, or they want to just do their vision without the artist input, and the artist really wants to give that input,
sure,
you're probably going to wind up somewhere that you don't want to be. Yeah. And the thing that really fascinated me about this whole process this time around was, you know, we had to deal with the COVID stuff. Yeah. And Ross's studio is in his home. Mm-hmm. And after we had finished writing a ton of songs, it was time to get to tracking. And right when we were about to track, a few of his family members tested positive. For a month, I didn't see him. And I had a deadline. I knew when I wanted the song to release, and there were things that we were aiming for the very beginning of this year. So to Ross's credit, he said, okay, I know we said we'd do it this way where you and I play everything and all that stuff, but I don't want to waste time. I'm in here, so let me put some stuff together. And a month goes by, and I finally get to come in. Everybody's healthy, everybody's safe. And I go, and he goes, okay, let me show you what I did. And I have to be honest, I was nervous because, man, what if he did all this work?
Exactly.
And it's not what I thought it was going to be in a bad way.
How do I hide my face if this goes
like how, really because he put in countless hours of work to really get this right. And as soon as he hit play, my mind was blown. I mean, he knew exactly what should be there. Totally. And there were a few things that when we did it acoustically, like I just had a Fender Rhodes queued up and he's on the acoustic and we're harmonizing and all this stuff. I'm thinking, man, this sounds really good stripped down. What the heck do we do with the band? Like, what do we do? Right. I don't know where this goes. I really don't. And he said, let me give it a shot. And when I heard everything, I went, damn, he knew what to do. And Give a Little Lovin' is a perfect example of that, because the acoustic demo that we did is a little slower and really Hall and Oates, kind of Bill Withersy R&B stuff.
Yeah.
A really different sound. And then you hear this thing and it's kind of Bruno Mars, kind of 90s R&B, kind of Morris Day and the Time, Purple Rain stuff happening. Totally. It's a mishmash of all these different styles and eras, but contemporary, and it's just nothing like how it started. So I think that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, that was one thing that I was going to ask, but you actually just brought it up, was like genre influence. There really is so much going on here. You've so like eloquently pulled from the greats of the past, but like infused all the modern into it. And I think that's why the song works so well, is because I mean, anyone that listens to it, from a child to an old lady, for example, can find something to enjoy in it, and it will remind them of something that they either used to enjoy or currently enjoy. And that's why it's
Oh, that
just
means a
like,
lot to me.
it's just
Thank
a
you.
versatile song. It's fantastic.
Awesome. Well, that
How long have
truly
you been
means.
making music for? Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no, no, no. And I just, before I answer that,
Yeah.
I got to give all credit to Ross on
Yeah.
that.
No.
He said, "Let me do it," and he hit the space bar, and I went, "That's the same song." Wow,
Seriously.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as, I'm sorry, say the question again. When did I
Yeah. How long have you been making music for? Just in general.
making music? Okay, I wrote my first song when I was 9 years old, after my grandpa died, and he and I were very close, and had been taking piano lessons for a couple of years at that
Sure.
point, so I knew enough to do some things. And this song came out, and it's about looking up at the sky and talking to the stars, all that
Sure.
sort of stuff that makes it easier for a kid. And then I got more serious about it. I mean, I had a garage band in middle school and high school. We played school dances and
Yeah.
town functions and
The
stuff
good
like that. But it
stuff.
was mainly cover band stuff. So it was college where I got a bit more serious in writing, and my self-released EP came out when I was a senior in college, and then we went on the road. And I went to Northeastern University in Boston, so we were playing on campus all the time.
Very cool.
Then out in the bars and the clubs, and we were gigging a lot. Uh, yeah, and my major was, they say it was composition based. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I have a Bachelor of
Okay.
Science in Music Technology. So we did composition, but a lot of it was very abstract composition.
Mm-hmm.
So I know for the artist community, they'd say, well, yeah, that's that. But to me, it just sounded like noise with some of the things that we had to do. But when we did things off of the music theory courses that we had to study, which were very classically based, and then private one-on-one songwriting classes we had to do, I would always push it to get away from the abstract and the antiquated into more contemporary work and structured, which led to a lot of arguments with certain professors. But it's like,
Sure.
hey, I know what I want to do, and the whole point of this class is to facilitate the one-on-one thing, not what the syllabus is. So with that, I got more into the rock stuff that I wanted to write, and then my career kind of dictated where I went stylistically, because I'm very much a pop rock guy. Like when I started, I really wanted to be the 2010s version of Rick Springfield or Bryan Adams.
Totally.
And then that sound on the radio and on YouTube and on eventually streaming platforms just disappeared. I don't know where it went. It's there, but it's not what
It's not
people
right
are
in the front.
consuming.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then with all the edgier rock stuff I was doing, I realized when I'd be on these bills, I'm not wearing makeup. I don't have crazy red or purple hair. I'm not full of
There's no
tattoos.
gimmick.
Yeah, I'd go on stage and everybody like, who the heck is this guy? Clean cut, wearing a leather jacket or something. But I didn't fit, and I didn't fit the mold of what these promoters wanted. So then I went more singer-songwriter direction, and from there I could branch out pretty much anywhere that I wanted to based on the song.
Gotcha.
And with these tunes that are coming out this year, I set a really strong goal to make sure that they were all very rhythmic, so that whether they were the focal point of your ears or just background tunes,
Totally.
you'd want to move regardless of tempo. If you're studying, driving, cleaning, whatever, it's like, yeah, this song makes me want to do something. So with that, the rhythm stuff lends to a little bit of a Latin style sometimes, the regular straight up top 40 or dance thing, or rhythm and blues. And that's what we got coming up.
Well, if this song is any indication, I'm really looking forward to what else is on the way for this year.
Well, thank you.
Actually brings me to my next thing. So we are recording this right basically at the beginning of January at the moment.
Yeah.
I want you to put yourself in your shoes a year from now. January 17th, 2023. What are some major things that you'd like to accomplish? I know that you just
Oh,
mentioned some, but there's got to be some major lofty goals up there.
yeah. Well, first, you just blew my mind that next year is 23.
Yeah, don't even want to
What?
think about
How is that,
it.
how is that even possible?
I think, yeah.
That sounds like the future. I mean, it is, but I
No,
mean, it really sounds like the future to me.
forget I said it. 2022, are you kidding me? That's like,
Yeah.
that's, geez.
But for a year from now, I
Yeah.
mean, my goals are to have had some pretty solid success.
Yeah.
I would like some things to make their way towards Billboard at this point. We've
Totally.
had some smaller success and some nice things on New Music Weekly, and my goal is to then get to Media Base, which then would get me to Billboard.
Mhm.
I'm hoping that these new songs bring in a brand new audience that will mesh nicely with the audience that's been there for a while. And
Yeah, man.
when we all get together for these shows, it's just a party.
Totally.
I'm hoping that whatever I put out there, people enjoy. I mean,
Right.
at the end of the day, I feel a big reason I make music is to not only make myself happy, but I want to make other people happy. And there's a lot of tunes out there now. And it's just, there's a place for it, of course, but I don't like all the sadness that's in top 40.
I agree.
You know,
I fully
it's not
agree.
just the story,
We
right?
have
Like
enough
if you
sadness
listen,
in our everyday lives. We need some
yeah,
like good feeling, upbeat, up tempo, vibrant, just
yeah,
like I don't know, people consume different types of media to escape. And I
of
feel
course.
like specific songs should serve that same purpose. Doesn't necessarily need to be a 90-minute comedy. It can be a 4 or 5 minute song to really take you out of it for a moment. Just kind of like inject some
I
serotonin into your
agree.
body.
I agree. And it's funny that you say it just like that. Last night I was with a friend of mine, and she and I were listening to music, and I gave her a sneak peek of what's to come.
Awesome.
And there's one particular song, uh, you know, there's some importance there.
Sure.
And I asked, what do you think? And she gave references to me that from what we've talked about in the past, where it reminded her stylistically and emotionally is right in the sweet spot of some of the most happiest times of her life.
Beautiful.
And I couldn't think of a greater compliment than that. And that's what I really hope it does for anyone and everyone. I love a good breakup song. I love a good
Sure, sure.
kind of song or something like that.
Yeah.
But I always think about Paul McCartney in a lot of the more current interviews, modern interviews of the last 10 years, even longer than that, I guess.
Yeah.
But when he reflects on the Beatles catalog, and I'm a massive, massive Beatles fan, he always emphasizes how happy he is that the messages for all most of their tunes are about togetherness, peace, love, harmony, just coming together. And I'm forgetting what movie it is. Michael Cera and I forget the lead actress's name. I feel like there's a playlist in the title of the movie. But anyway, they're in a band and they're in the back of their tour van in New York City somewhere, and the two guys said to Michael's character at some point, he's like, the Beatles had it right with "I Want to Hold Your Hand," because
I
this,
know what you're talking about.
right? You know
Yeah,
it,
I
yeah,
forgot the name of the movie, but I remember that
yeah.
line specifically.
Is it Nick and Nora's Infinite
It
Playlist? Is
might
it
be.
that
It
one?
might be. I have to look it up after this.
But that line has stuck with me from the moment I saw that film.
Totally.
And, you know, it's so true. The music from back then, even though they meant it in, you know, a kind of way
Sure,
sometimes,
sure.
there was mystery about it, and there was an innocence about it that really isn't shoved in your face that today, forget about it, everything's shoved in your face.
It's true.
So I just love that sentiment that I want to hold your hand, because listening to that song, you're like, well, yeah. I mean, this is a powerful thing, whether it's romantic, platonic, supportive, comforting, whatever. It's a very powerful gesture and feeling. And there's certain things that words can't do. As beautiful as they are, words can't do everything. So whether it's in the music and the sound that does it, or just what's behind it, I think that's a really special thing.
I love
And
that.
it's really what I want to have out of my music. And that's what's
I think
coming. I
it
mean, all
will.
these
I think it
songs,
will.
even if there's a little bit of, oh, thank you. Even if there's a little bit of sorrow in a tune here and there, there's always optimism. Once we get to the bridge, there's the
Goes
change.
right back up.
And like, okay, now we have to, we step up, or we turn the page, we rise above, whatever it is.
Totally.
But these songs are pretty feel good tunes, and I'm very excited about them.
Awesome, man. Jamie, it's
Yeah,
been an absolute pleasure talking to you about this. Seriously, I have one more
here,
question for you.
Austin,
Yeah, man. I got one more question for
by
you.
all means.
Basically, the question is for the person that is going to discover you from this, and for the person that is going to listen to your music for the first time, what is an opening message that you'd like to say to them?
That's one of the best questions I've ever been asked. Let's see.
Wow.
It's really refreshing the way that I would want to introduce myself to them, huh? I'll keep it very current then. We've been through a lot these past few years, and to say that the road leading up to the world turning in a very different way was easy would also be a lie. So I hope that whatever music from me that you listen to allows you to either have a break from all that's going on in the
Mhm.
world and help things slow down, or it gives you a little bit of a boost to make a happy day that much brighter, or a harder day a little bit easier.
That was a fantastic opening and closing statement. Uh,
Oh, thank
Jamie, I want to thank you so much for your super in-depth answers. This could either go one of two ways. I get one-word answers or I get expanded ones, and this is so much more preferable.
I
And
do love to talk, Austin.
that is okay. This is a podcast. You're encouraged. For everyone else out there, if you have not listened to Give a Little Lovin' yet, I highly recommend it. Send it to your friends, send it to your grandma. Anyone who you think will like it will most likely really enjoy it. And I am personally invested into whatever else is coming out this year. I want to thank you
I
so
can't
much
wait to
again
share
for
it
your
with
time.
you.
I'm super excited. And have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you so much again. We'll definitely be in touch.
Yeah. Thank
Awesome.
you, Austin. It's been
Thanks,
an
man.
absolute blast to be here.
Totally. Take care, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Be well. All
You
right.
too.
Talk
Bye.
soon.